Hello, everybody! It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another audio commentary. I'm here with the wonderfully talented JTIsReborn.
How's it going?
We are here to discuss probably the longest episode on record, if you're not counting the 100th episode and the season finale, which I'm working on right now, which is Hook! 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 Hook!
Hook! Hook! You know what, Jack? I think I have a tendency to appear in like all the longest episodes on your show.
That or just, if needed. And I guess we should definitely start with, well, honestly, this opening is, I kind of love this. This is right out of the movie. I was basically, I love the candlelight. I love the coloring and everything. This was shot late at night. I was, and no, that's not real alcohol. That's apple juice, which always works. So the idea of this, we'll get to sort of, I want to try to get through the storyline bits, and then we'll further review. We'll talk about what went into it. But this whole opening was basically kind of the start, because this is during the 7th season, which is called the Lockdown arc, and it was sort of the second last episode before the finale last year of Godzilla vs. Kong. How appropriate! There was foreshadowing in your shirt. I love that.
I know. I'm like, wait a minute. Your next episode's GVK. I gotta like bust out the shirt.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, this is all just set up story-wise that Sean and the other guys had been setting up stuff to help me get out faster, because there's like all this stuff going on in the plot. But I wrote a lot of this basically kind of to reflect the movie. Especially this scene is more to reflect when Peter's like getting drunk and when he's talking to Maggie. And the one joke I love is just like, why do you want to send me to Michael Jackson's ranch?
I remember that in the little trailer you put for the video, and I just was cracking up like immediately when that kind of happened. But yeah, so you had the story set up and everything, and you and I had been like wanting to do like a collaborative review for a long time. I think the first video I appeared on your channel was Dragon Ball Evolution, where we did the perfect cell moment. That was like a lot of fun to do. So I don't know how,
because I know, yeah, you and I shot in friends for a while, and I think we had Chief. I can't remember.
Yeah, we did meet at G-Fest, I think the 2018 one, because I remember you were on Nick's channel, and it was just watching a video, and you were just cracking up, and then because Nick had asked me to do like a video thing, and I was always hesitant to do other like appear on other channels unless I kind of knew somebody. But then I'm like, you know what, I'll give this thing a shot, and then I was like the best thing I'd ever done, because I kind of like had lost a lot of interest of it in YouTube in like 2018. Like you, like Ryan and Nick, like basically like the whole Kaiju Guard crew basically kind of revitalized me back on YouTube, and it made me like want to do it again more frequently. And now I do it so much now that it's just like I've lost count of how many videos I've done at this point, but it restored that love, so I always appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's we had net through all that, and then I know you and I had been talking about doing a review of something for a while. And at some point, because I think, yeah, it was around early 2021. Or actually, it was like maybe a year prior.
It was 2020.
Okay.
Because we've been both fans of Hook, and I think I'm like, I think we were talking about the 30th anniversary or something. Like, why don't we just like, I think I reached out, I'm like, hey, do you want to do like a collaborative thing on that? Because it was a long ways out, so it kind of gave a lot of time just to kind of like plan the whole crossover thing. Because I know you had so many videos that you were working on, and I'm like, look, I mean, let's just do whatever it takes to kind of like get like some sort of, because if we're going to collaborate on something, I felt like it should be something that we both really love. And Hook, it just kind of fit perfectly well with the whole 30th anniversary thing. And I mean, we still quote the movie all the time. And in fact, like Facebook's even made like Hook posting groups. So
I think
like
it's
all the
funny
memes
too,
there.
because like when because I had kind of because this was right in the middle of the pandemic, I had kind of been going back and rewatching a lot of stuff from my childhood, which I haven't really seen since then. And I watched Hook probably before I thought, okay, let's do this shit. And I watched it, and I had a huge emotional reaction. I was crying most of the screening, because there's a mix of like Robin was gone, John Williams' score, the fact they don't make films like that anymore, and on top of that, just I think just reflecting on my childhood, realizing, because I'm 30 now, and I'm pretty much the same age Peter was, so I was kind of having a sort of symbolism, sort of like almost a midlife crisis, where oh god, I remember what it's like watching this stuff and having fun. They just don't make them anymore. So I was like, okay, you know what? A lot of people are probably going to talk about this movie, but let me just do the definitive 30th anniversary review. And I think out of all of them I've seen on YouTube, this is probably one of the best and the longest, to be sure. I've never seen a retrospect at this long. Like, we had seen the Nostalgia Critic talk about it. We saw Oliver Harper talk about it. But I wanted to go into more detail because the more we were, because I remember this episode being going to be probably about 30 minutes, but over the course of the years we were like writing it, discussing it, we were finding more and more details about this movie, more stuff. I had actually talked to people who worked on it. I reached out to the Hook posting communities, and it all just came to like, wow, this is the longest episode. Good Lord, it almost killed my computer.
Oh, wait.
So I love
this.
This was your idea to do the Power Rangers thing.
Right, because I'm like, I don't have like any Hook costume stuff, and I'm like, let's just, I think but it also is kind of setting the stage for things to come later on too.
Yeah, that's what I love. I'm like, okay, well, if I need a green, well, it's funny because in the year with the Power Rangers, it's because going back to my 2017 episode, it was supposed to be Linkara, so he had the Green Ranger power. So I guess, how do we explain that? Did he just let you borrow the Green Ranger powers in the Reviewerverse? What's going on?
You know what? I just have it somehow. I just stole it, or I duplicated it. Used the green candle. I don't know. That last year's costume was so great. In fact, I'm actually going to a Comic-Con tomorrow dressed up as the Green Ranger at the time we're recording this thing, so that should be fun.
Now, interesting about the costume behind me. So during the pandemic, I got bored and I did a lot of different hobbies to occupy my time. One of which was collecting swords, obviously, hence all my swords in my videos. But also, I started doing some cosplays. So I built this Hook cosplay out of stuff from the thrift shop, the dollar store, and under 48 hours. It was absolutely crazy. And then by the end of it, I actually had time to build the Peter Pan costume. So I love this outfit so much. I wore it to Fan Expo, but I wanted to showcase it in the review. So what I did was I just took my mannequin that I used to display my bat suit, and I just put the Hook costume on it, and it came out great. So obviously, because I'd never talked about Peter Pan, I wanted to go through the history of it. So I was looking at the filmography. That musical I remember watching as a kid. It was not too shabby. But this one, everybody forgets about is the Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates with Tim Curry.
Yes, Tim Curry.
Have you watched this cartoon? It's actually really good.
I think I remember watching little bits of it, but oh man, Tim Curry as Captain Hook in a live action movie would have been fantastic.
I think it's free on YouTube because I think the rights are a little bit in limbo. So it's one of those ones where it's like, if it's in limbo, find it on YouTube. Now something I kind of brought up was the fact that by that point I did get the Laserdisc version of the movie. I found it at a con for like $5. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna grab that.
I need to get a Laserdisc player. I have a Laserdisc of Batman '89, but I don't have a Laserdisc player.
I have watched it on Laserdisc. My buddy Josh has a copy, and I'll admit, it's probably one of the worst quality versions of the film I've ever seen.
Oof.
It's not good. So yeah, obviously, because this is a sequel to Peter Pan, it's not that. And it's one of the things I always wanted to discuss was the fact that it's a unofficial trilogy. That you watch one of the original adaptations, then Return to Neverland, then Hook. And, it's like that's something to kind of bring up as well.
Yeah, good old Hook.
So I think out of all of the adaptations of Peter Pan, out of all the films, this is one of the best ones. And it's also one of Spielberg's best. I know I didn't put it in my top 30 favorite films, but if it's not with the other two, which is Jurassic Park, E.T., and Jaws, this is number 4 probably for me.
Yeah, for me, this is probably I would say probably 3 in terms of Spielberg movies, because number 1 is Jaws, 2 is Jurassic Park, and then 3 I gotta go with Hook because I think I have the most emotional connection to it, and I think the movie is really entertaining. I obviously in the video we both love the movie, and it's one I keep endlessly going back to time and time again. I'm trying to think if there's another Spielberg movie that really kind of comes close to it. There's some great Indiana Jones movies.
I like Raiders. Out of all, I do like Raiders. I do like. I actually do want to see his new movie.
Last Crusade the most.
Great. His new movie looks really good.
Yeah, but Spielberg hasn't made a movie in a long time that's really felt like classic Spielberg. The closest I felt was Ready Player One.
Yeah, that was a decent one. But the new one looks. His new one that is. I actually premiered it at Toronto International Film Festival here. He was here for that. I heard was really good. Paul Deeney, I think, plays his dad.
Like Paul Deeney, the writer?
No, the who's the guy who plays the Riddler? Is it Paul Deeney? Who's the guy who's the Riddler in the Batman? Paul Dano, yeah.
Paul Dano. I was about to say Paul Deeney's the writer and co-creator of Harley Quinn. I'm like, Paul Deeney? He acts? So
that is one of my
God,
favorite jokes in the movie, where like the guy who shoots the pirate with the wallet.
That's one of my favorites. I think my favorite in the joke is still he's stealing second. He just gets shot.
So I was actually trying to reach out to people who had worked on the film. I did talk to Dante at Fan Expo. He was a good insight in helping out. But also, oh yes, I love that joke. There's so many good. The writing and the humor in this is freaking brilliant. Who wrote the script? Who wrote like the humorous
wasn't it
parts
Nick Castle?
of it? It wasn't. I don't think it was Nick Castle, but like who wrote the humor? I think either the humor was either improvised or they just got somebody to write it. Whoever did that, just genius writing.
I feel like the improv, like Robin is a master of improv. Like he is like one of the best to ever do it. I mean, you ever watch his appearance on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Probably the best episode of that entire show, because he fits so well in with the other guys on there, and it was just hilarious.
It's one of those things where, like, I mean, that's something I do with comedians too. If I'm working with somebody who's legitimately funny, I don't write half the jokes. I actually just say, here's the scenario, here's the scene. While you're on camera, make it funny. Improv, and we'll stick it in somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just trying to think what else. I don't know if you want to take over and talk about something. Okay, yeah, this stuff with the fact that Steven, like, apparently Steven even hates it, and you're like, I'm sorry, Steven, you're an idiot. This is a great movie.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is like with disliking Hook. Like maybe he'll like it again one day, because I mean sometimes opinions change on movies. I think I don't know what the deal is. Like it's a really good movie.
Because again, this production had been in development hell for about a decade, and what happened was that it was originally supposed to be a musical, like a live action musical, and that's why the sets are so big and why John Williams was on it right away. But then when all the production stuff, I think what Spielberg's more upset about is that it wasn't a musical, that it wasn't what he had planned. I think just having kids and rewriting it and fixing it up kind of changed his ways. But then I think after he did West Side Story, he reflected on it and he said, this is what I wanted to do with Hook, was what he did with West Side Story, which I'm like, that would be still interesting to see. I don't know how you do it, but I still think the film on its own is great. Like it's still the definitive Captain Hook on film for me. Dustin is Hook.
Yeah, Dustin's the best by far. I haven't seen anybody that's come close. Well, I mean, unless you count TV, Christopher Walken, Captain Hook.
I want to see what Jude Law does, but I'm so anti-Disney right now that I don't know how the fuck it's going to turn out.
You know what? It's going to be King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, Jude Law.
No. I'm going to call it right now. Wendy can fly without the pixie dust because woke.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to say actually
because it's Disney. Yeah, they completely missed the point of Mulan.
These are real photos of me when I was because I used to go to this cottage up north, and there was a time I actually did get an extremely bad ear infection, and it made me feel like physically ill. And look at that little fucker. Look at that little fucker with bad teeth. So we had rented Hook. I watched it on those old wooden box televisions, and I loved it. And I kept rewinding the fight scenes. It was awesome. But that's the first time I saw it, and it was a perfect environment too. You're on a beach. It's very piratey. I was thinking it was one of the first pirate movies I ever saw. I didn't see really any swashbucklers prior.
I love the sets. The sets are so phenomenal in this movie. Yeah, we know they're sets, but that's what makes them awesome. It's like Batman '89. I know those are sets, but Gotham has never looked better because of it. It just, there's a unique visual look to it all. It just looks like it was a fun movie to be on.
Well, the fact that it's just like I didn't know this. The fact that they were shot on the same sound stages as Wizard of Oz, and I actually had to like research what exact like sets in Wizard of Oz were filmed on the sets for Hook, and I'm matching it up. You're like, oh wow, that actually makes sense. Like something I actually noticed is that when Hook gets eaten by the crocodile, you notice that obviously he's gone from the shot. Apparently, from what I heard, I didn't put this in the review, that the area Hook was standing in, Dustin, when it came down, was the same drop, like stage drop where they dropped the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz, and because the clock tower area, that's where the Emerald City, or not the Emerald City, Munchkinland was. So
that's pretty cool.
Where Hook dropped, that's where the witch would come out from the bottom of the stage.
That's pretty awesome.
So it's like, wow, okay. So and even everybody on the set was saying that because it was shot on The Wizard of Oz, they felt like this is going to be the new Wizard of Oz of a new generation.
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I think it was more just it was less about, because most people who say that would be like, would basically essentially be like, oh, we don't want to be the Wizard of Oz because that movie tanked and it didn't become popular until we were all old and dead. But
Mhm.
this it hooked it well, and it still holds up to this day. If you can ever watch any of the B-roll of Robin doing this thing, it's actually really amazing. There's a bit with him, like they're harnessing him on the ship, and he Dustin, I think at the time he won the Oscar for something. I think it was for Rain Man, and Robin was like, "Oh, but I did Popeye." It's like
You know,
he's
come to
got
think of
four
it,
of them. Can I borrow one?
you know, I think Robin should have done more adventure action type movies like this, because like when you think about it, like did he really ever do any others outside of Peter Pan or
I mean, if
Hook?
you count Flubber, I like Flubber.
Yeah, but Flubber is more like, it's not like an adventure swashbuckler type movie. I really wish he would have done more of these types of movies too. I think he would just fit really right in, because he was sticking to kind of comedy and drama, and like he was a master of comedy. He's one of the funniest like people who ever lived, and he was such a fantastic improv guy. And he was a fantastic dramatic actor. He was just like the total package in terms of acting ability. But I really would have liked to have seen him do like more types of movies like this. Like he looks like he's having so much fun with the sword fights and all that. Like I feel like he probably should have done more stuff like this if he could have gotten the chance to.
Yeah, but would have been great. I mean, if you count Aladdin, I don't know if Aladdin counts, but again, that's more his comedy. You're talking more about just doing legitimate action. He was supposed to be the Riddler for Tim Burton's third Batman, but they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, we still got Jim Carrey though, and that was a glorious casting choice.
I think him and Jim Carrey are honestly like they are the two greatest live action cartoons of comedy, because they inherit that sort of cartoonish persona, which is something even I do. Like I take a lot of my humor from Robin and Jim as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they're fantastic at like improv and like that cartoonish humor. Did they ever do any projects together? I don't know if I've ever seen them really in the same room. I'm sure like
How
some
did they not do one?
right, because they would have fit so well like with their different styles, and that would have meshed quite well in terms of, oh yeah, I'm at McDonald's in this clip.
Okay, I do. This was all just because we wanted to include the McDonald's advertisers that they did for the movie. But also, what I love
Mm-hmm.
about this scene is that you bring up, that every car has a spaceship starfighter tech after the plot
Mm-hmm.
hole, which is a nod to Boldly Flee, the final entry of
Yep.
the That Guy with the Glasses trilogy, because this is technically canon to the Reviewerverse, and
Mm-hmm.
there's all this stuff that happened post plot hole debacle. So
Yeah. And
we're
that
kind
was
of like the
also in my old car before it got smashed, like a few
Oh,
months
really?
later.
That's what happened to it? Oh
Yeah, so
shit!
I was coming back from lunch. I parked in the parking lot at my work. Granted, it's like a secured parking lot, and some idiot was on their phone, drove straight into my car, which then hit another car, which then hit another car, which then hit another car. So I was without a vehicle for 3 weeks. I
Wait,
was
did
literally
this
at my
happen
desk
like
working.
while we were filming it?
No, no, no. It was like it was like a month or two later. About a month and a half, I think, after this video came out. That's when my car was wrecked. So I'm like, oh, there's my old vehicle. So,
You know
but
what
now
I
I got a
just
truck. And
realized? We're doing this commentary like a year after we finished shooting, because at the time the Monopoly thing was happening, and now it's happening again. We are like 1 year later. That's insane.
I know, because I'm like, it was November of last year. I haven't actually watched this video in a long time, but I remember being there when it went live. It's neat to go back, like, wow, has it really been a freaking year? Like, we're already we're recording this October. I don't know when you're gonna post this thing.
We are literally
Just
filming this as long as it took for the Saiyans to arrive on Earth.
oh wow,
You know what? I just want to hear
the truth.
Perfect Cell do Captain Hook lines now. That just sounds amazing. Perfect Cell is Captain Hook.
I know, but like, what should I say?
It's like the whole "You're a liar."
Me lie, ho 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 ho. The truth is far too much fun.
Oh my god, that's just way too fucking well. So, yeah,
man,
again, just
he's so funny
Dustin's
too.
so good at this. He's so good at this.
He's so funny. I love him with Hoskins. Like they have such good like on-screen chemistry. I like villains who have a lot of power, but are also kind of like pathetic in a funny sort of way, like Hook at times, or like a Dark Helmet from Spaceballs. There's just something about villains that are just like assholes, but also like having the time of their life. You really feel that when you're watching the movie on screen. Like these two, just they're so good on screen together. Wouldn't that have been interesting if like the other kid who plays Jack in this would have ended up in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, or like
instead of
that,
Hook?
because I find it also funny that Leo DiCaprio had actually auditioned as well at the time, because this is like pre-Titanic, when he got like really big. So I
Right,
didn't
and
know
like
this too. I didn't know that Maggie Smith was wearing makeup in this, and that was
I
like blew
know.
my mind. Like, you're like, how old is this person?
You know, she is. She's Frau from Austin Powers, where it's like she's always been old. And
Scott!
Frau, you look so.
Peter! Huck! Good God. Frau is Wendy. Oh my God. And then Dr. Evil is Captain Hook. Throw me a freaking hand here, Peter. Jesus.
Oh my God. Like, and Smee is fat bastard.
First things first, Hook. Where's your shitter? I got that codfish poking out. I love. Okay, Toodles is great in this. The actor who plays him is amazing.
It's snowing. Oh wait, here it is. One of my favorite jokes.
I will say, I actually did do this. There was actually a Halloween night that it did snow like crazy, and the kids knocked on my door, and I actually replied with that. And then I obviously did open it up and gave them candy, but I just wanted to do that. It was the funniest thing I've ever done.
Oh, when you can like incorporate like movie jokes in a clever way, it's always the best. Like if I can incorporate some reference into real life, it fits so well. Yeah, Julia Roberts, like I think she is probably the weakest of the main cast in this movie. She's not terrible, but she's not amazing or anything like that. But like I don't hate her, but compared to some of the others on screen, she's just not to par. Oh, Peter,
I think what the reason it kind of faulted was only because I love this, the fact that Carrie Fisher got involved with the writing, as well as for like her and George Lucas. Like the cameo bits are great in this. There's so many great cameos. There's some even I found out later that were, I think there's like some band members or something in one of the Pirates as well. I love that. It's just anytime I can find an awkward clip of George Lucas, it's gold.
Oh, I know, that's the best.
Okay, yeah, if there were vampire Lost Boys versus pirates, that sounds amazing.
Yep.
Anytime I can use that joke, I will. That's one of my favorite running jokes on the show is Joel Schumacher. I really want to apologize. I think when I hit Batman Forever, which I do want to talk about someday, that's going to be the last of that joke, I think. I'm gonna, once I hit those two films, which I'm thinking of, I've actually been considering that, what I want to do with that, and definitely, Sean, I want to have you on board for at least one of them.
Right. I mean, I'm down with no matter what, because like I love Batman Forever. You know, I just love Batman movies. Like I love those first four movies. Like Forever, we did the whole commentary on the entire movie on my channel.
Yeah, I'll put a link to that down below.
Yep.
Actually, one thing I will say,
one of the coolest kids, though.
One thing I will say too about this, about the doing clips on my reviews nowadays. I actually love now that this makes it easier to evade content ID system, is putting the bars, like blocking the black bars with like a red background or like any background that kind of fits your show, because it does actually help evade the content ID system, because when you have it with just the black bars, they do actually match that as well. So it actually does help to do that kind of stuff. Something I love too is like everybody's like, when I see cosplayers as Rufio, they always have the gold sword, which I understand for the majority of the film he had. But any cosplayer who does the armored variant of Rufio with the right cutlass, I say, okay, props to detail on that. Actually, there's a great video of him reciting the rehearsal stuff with the same sword masters on YouTube, which I actually also did talk to about this, and they're actually really nice people. I think they're based in California, but they're really nice guys. They're still working to this day.
Spielberg not want him to die though? Spielberg did not want him to die in the movie, but there had to be consequences.
I didn't find this until after that. The reason Rufio died was because Kathleen Kennedy told Steven, "Hey, there's no dread at the end of this. There's no suspense. You should add this." And look. Say what you will about Kathleen Kennedy, but that was a really good tip. I think that actually made the film a lot stronger.
I know it's hard because it's like you like Rufio so much, but you like there has to like be some sort of stakes to it. It's like when I rewatch Jaws. Like Jaws is like my favorite movie, but like I hate seeing Quint die every time because he's so great on screen, but it has to happen. for
well,
the movie.
I mean, in the original book, which I have read, that was a great moment. It's actually fun story. I didn't say this in the review, but when I was talking with Dante, he said actually I had one of the best Hook cosplays he's ever seen. And he said to me that he asked me like what after the conversation, he says, "Hey, thanks for coming in. What's your name?" And I said Jack, and he said, "Run home, Jack." And I'm just like, "Oh God damn it!" So,
he's one of the best like child actors like in a movie ever. Like he's so cool. Like he on screen.
you should. I mean, if you ever get a chance to meet him, please do. He's a wonderful guy.
Will do.
Yeah. So it's
What
funny
about Smee?
Oh man, Bob,
Smee.
these two. Oh my God, these two are the best.
Oh, they are like or it's the joke. I'm trying to commit suicide.
I actually,
fight me like
me
that
and
again.
Brad, we want to, because I made Brad a Mr. Smee cosplay. We want to go to a
God,
con.
you and Brad as Smee fits so well, though.
We want to go at a con as fucking Smee, and we want to do that scene on stage.
No.
So, yeah, that's actually is true. They actually did legitimately try, and Sony told them, don't do that, because this is the 90s, and no homo was the thing to do, and it's like, oh, fuck off.
Oh, this is the best part.
That is the best. I had to obviously cut it down. I was always making sure whenever I show a scene to condense it down, but still get the point across without missing any beats because of content AD systems.
I'm trying to commit suicide.
I also love that the gun sounds actually sound like the cartoon gun sounds. Like they did try to incorporate stuff from the animated film as well.
Hey, did you know that was Glenn Close back? Oh wait, here's best joke.
The way he falls. That is still the best thing.
See,
that's
Glenn Close. There she is.
The fact that that's Cruella and it's Cruella. And
I didn't realize it till years later, and it's like, what?
Yeah, and then actually one joke I did when I was editing, I didn't come up with this joke in the original script, but when you show Phil Collins and Toodles is like, how have you felt how to fly? And he's like, wait, one does, but I want to be like, I can feel it. Here, I love this joke. I will say I took a lot of like the humor. I did take a lot from Canicarus. Canicarus I've been watching a lot of lately. Oh, there's your
again in Neverland.
I think just because I was doing a lot of parody stuff, like parody songs, like very Weird Al, I wanted to incorporate that in this review. So I thought, okay, Sean, come up with some funny song.
Yeah, it kind of fit all right. Like, I mean, jeez.
I don't know. I thought it's funny because like
I love that shot. That's my favorite shot in the movie right there.
That is a great shot.
Over Neverland. It's so beautiful to look at.
Oh, I will also say that after this review came out, because I was struggling with behind-the-scenes footage from the making of this, I honestly found out that right after this came out, somebody uploaded a full-on, like, 30-minute documentary from, like, HBO or something on the making of this, and there's so much B-roll I've never seen before from the set that I was like, why the fuck was this footage when I needed it for the review? Because there's little footage of like Dustin and Robin rehearsing the sword fights. I'm like, oh, I would have loved this shit. Okay, everybody loves this moment.
I gotta eat food after this. Now I'm already hungry just thinking about this scene.
I've already had like a couple things. I ate Subway and a pizza today, so I'm all good.
Yeah, I had some. What did I have? I had like a chicken pita. I had like saganaki, and then I also had like a chocolate shake. Sometimes like a chocolate shake is the one thing that, like, the smallest thing can make you happy for a day. And just like those little moments.
So when we did this scene, I told Sean, I said, okay, when we shoot the montage food scene, when we incorporate it, go get McDonald's, because obviously that was the promotional thing at the time.
Right, and I had to waste all those good fries.
I wanted him to go completely cuckoo, like just toss the fries everywhere, like Doug would do with the corn pops in the commercial special.
Yeah, I do feel like I was a little bit restrained there, because I'm just like...
I just used the best take. That was like the most wild... I actually do want to try those pastries. Those are the ones that attract me the most.
Looks
but
like
when it
Superman
comes
ice cream right there.
When it comes to this, when I was doing the sequence on my end, so McDonald's had been doing the Monopoly bit, and I'm not kidding. When I did this, I literally did not know of the Monopoly piece, and I actually won on camera a real sandwich, a real Big Mac, and I was like, oh shit! So that was like a legit reaction. Okay, yes, you always gotta. Why is it that back then it's like, okay, fat guy, put a tube in.
Yep.
That was a good quarter pounder with cheese, I will admit.
And then I didn't win shit.
Yeah. So that's a real reaction to me, like realizing, oh my god, I got a sandwich. Yeah, you didn't have Monopoly when you were filming it.
I had to waste all those good fries.
I will admit too, what I love too about your humor, Sean, is that because I always say we're like the next generation of reviewers. So if I'm nostalgia critic, which I've been labeled as also nostalgia cringe it, that is going to happen to me in 10 years' time if I keep eating McDonald's. But if I'm nostalgia critic, I always saw you as sort of the spoony type. So for the very like the spoony type where you review kind of the obscure stuff, which is always good. Like the world could. That actually is something I actually realized when I was watching. I was like, I've heard that sound effect. I realized that's just the ET ring, and nobody brings that up.
I didn't notice it until you brought it up.
Yeah, it's the ET ring. I'm like, oh, that's a nice little detail. I love the set. I love the set.
God, it's so fucking good. It's beautiful to look at. I want to just play around on the set and just have fun. I want to be in a pirate adventure, Jack. It disappoints me that I'm not in like a crazy like adventure pirate stuff. Everything's just so boring. I want to go on a pirate adventure like this.
Well, if I do the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I'll invite you down. We'll go do a pirate adventure movie.
All right, I'll make the trip overseas and then something. I don't know what the pirates thing will be, but it's got to be something fun.
Can we get Lego Hook, please? Like a Lego model of the Jolly Roger. That'd be great.
Yep.
That like this was something I was like, this is so the right there. There's a little trap door where the Wicked Witch would kind of come down. It's the same location. Yeah, I realized. Oh, that's why it looks like this. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yep. We just murdered somebody. Like, one thing that always bugged me, though, is, like, they don't react, like, there's no emotional, like, hey, our best friend Rufio just died.
A lot of people are like, well, what happened to the pirates? All the pirates. Well, you know what I found out? I actually realized this. They didn't kill them, but if you look at the background, and there's one shot, that one big wide shot of Hook and Rufio fighting on the back of the ship. You'll notice in the way background that the Lost Boys are actually have all the pirates tied up and they're hauling them away somewhere. So that's what happened to the pirates. They didn't all die. They just moved them over and just held them hostage or something. Yeah, like they should have honestly should have just left it as
whatever
a theme
happened
park.
to the crocodile. Like oh wait, my Jack.
My Jack, yeah. So it's funny because if you want to know a lot where this stuff is, I've actually talked to a few people who worked on it, and they have like a couple of props. Like I know one guy who has the big what's the name of the fat Lost Boy again? What's his name? Thudbud. Thudbud. Yeah, somebody has the big ball version of him that goes down the stairs, and it's in like a jar, which is like really creepy. Yeah, something I didn't notice this. So the same costume designer did the outfits for Roland Polanski's Pirates, which I have watched, and it's extremely boring.
You got to watch Cutthroat Island at some point. Like
I have it on laser. I have a few pirate movies on Laserdisc actually. I have Hook, I have Cutthroat Island, and I have Treasure Island with Christian Bale as Jim and Charlton Heston as Long John Silver.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah,
but Cutthroat Island, Jack, is is such an amazing bad movie. Like there's so much money thrown on screen, and the score is incredible. But there's so many funny bad moments in that movie. You got to check it out. Like I think I did like an after the movie on it.
I want to say
I watched it twice.
Very quickly about this. So this commercial, I remember being on YouTube for the longest time, and I love that idea with the idea with the pan toy, the pan sword. What they did was they just put a bell in it, and when you like move it around, the bell's supposed to be the sword tang sound. I'm like, okay, that's creative. But with that commercial is that for some reason it was gone for years, and I was thinking, how am I going to execute the commercial bits with it? Because all you had was the action figure commercial by Mattel. But then suddenly somebody finally uploaded it, and I'm like, oh, thank you. And I just grabbed it, downloaded it, and used it for this video. And
I got to say, man, props to your research on this thing. Like, I mean, you went really in depth, and it really just shows in the video. Like, it's incredibly well done. Like, this is like the most, like you were saying at the beginning, this is the most in-depth video review on Hook there's ever been. I don't think anybody comes to this level. I don't think anybody will.
I go find the props. I go find like where they're at. You find out how they're made. You find out so much. And for me, it's all about sword fighting, and just I love the blooper stuff from the original trilogy. But with yeah, just looking at the props and costumes and everything, like you realize, oh my god, there's so much more detail than what's on screen. I mean, even
Oh, I
like
know.
doing editing on this, I say this in my live stream. Like I was looking at that one scene where Peter's fighting that pirate to save Maggie. You start noticing like every shot, it's only a small fight scene, but then what happens is that through the magic of editing, one little segment filmed at different angles can look like a longer, extensive fight scene. So that bit with with Peter and the pirate, you find out first of all, it was just like it was only like 3 moves that they edited in twice, and then on top of that, they're hitting the blades wrong, because when you hit edge on edge, that's kin to having the blades break, and when you can't block with the edge, you have to block with the flat end. So you find this stuff out and you just want to talk about it more and more, and then you realize, good lord, this review is way too long.
Look at this. 2 icons right there in that image. Christopher Reeve, and apparently when Christopher Reeve was like ready to kind of give up, Robin Williams was the first man to make him laugh again.
Yeah, and on top of that,
accident.
I think from what I heard, Reeve did give Robin advice on wire work, because I think for Robin, this was one of the rare times he had to do that. So it's cool that he actually.
You know who also was a classmate with him too? Kevin Conroy.
Oh, really? With Robin?
Yes. Yes, he was a class. He said Robin was their best students, and I think he knew Christopher Reeve in that too. So, like, yeah, they all kind of went in the same place together.
How did we not get a Batman Superman moment with Kevin Conroy and Christopher Reeve? What the fuck?
Maybe we did somewhere. We just don't realize it.
There's like a photo out there. Batman and Superman actually did meet. That'd be cool. Yeah, actually, with the personal stories too, because like E.T. and Last Crusade explain that. But go see his new movie. It's all about him as a kid making movies.
I'll have to check it out. Close Encounters is another good Spielberg. Jaws, fantastic.
So yeah, okay, I mean, Spielberg definitely This is a real teaser. This is a real teaser from the '80s that Paramount had this reel that they would show for only like investors. They would show investors what they were working on even before they filmed anything or had anything ready to go. So they would put out these teasers, and one of them was that Steven Spielberg's Peter Pan, which is interesting.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Hee hee.
Michael really wanted to be Peter Pan so bad. I could not help making some of these jokes. I love Michael. I don't think he did anything bad, but honestly, like, he would have been a good Peter, I think.
Michael is, we'll say this about Michael Jackson, unbelievably talented, but he was bizarre.
Like, you can't help but feel kind of bad for him, though.
Yeah, because like he had some sort of disease, if I remember. With the
that's why they went after him. He was an easy target because he looked funny. Okay, Christopher Lloyd or David Bowie as Hook would have been amazing. Okay, yes, ever since Nostalgia Critic made that reference, I'm like, that's going to be the running joke with Labyrinth. Tra-la-la. Yeah, because at the time, Steven had married his longtime partner, who was
Michael Myers. Ironically enough, Halloween Ends is out this weekend.
Oh God, I've heard nothing but crap from it.
I don't know, because it's a very polarized movie. In terms of responses, like my friend who didn't like Kills really like this one.
I might go see it Tuesday. So
okay, it's very different, But the fact that Michael Myers
Black Adam looks good. Okay, this you were actually really shocked by this, because doing my research and connecting the dots, you realize, oh wow, Diana had a really big hand in making these movies happen, and it's mostly because she was a fan of Steven's movies. And at the time,
I also like too that fourth wall joke broken in there, like me doing the recording and just like.
I mean, I feel like I want to do more fourth wall jokes. Like, there's one coming up in my Halloween special. But at the same time, it's funny that, like, yeah, I find it interesting that things like they were friends with the J.M. Barrie Foundation. That goes really deep with this stuff. And I find it odd. Yeah, they look like Diana, and I wonder if that was just a nod because of the producer involved. So what's interesting too is that. Oh, go ahead.
Dustin Hoffman did do that movie called Finding Neverland. Apparently, there was a scene that was like written, but he said no to it, where he was going to be dressed up as Captain Hook.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
I am serious. Like,
that's what I've heard. That would have been amazing. That would have made that movie more interesting.
Yeah, it's like when Jim Carrey was doing that voice for like Horton Hears a Who. I think there was a scene where they wanted him to voice the Grinch, but he said no or something. I don't know if that's true or not. Same thing. I think that's the case with the Dustin Hoffman bit too. So, but he should have done it.
This is the only time I can say I'm sorry, but fuck you, Siskel and Ebert. I finally understand what Roland Emmerich was talking about with you guys. That bullshit. Just bullshit opinions, guys.
Right. I mean, like I said, I still enjoy their videos that they did because they were really the first to really do the whole like media critic thing. But they're still like, even if I disagree with them, I still am fascinated by what they have to say. So
I love the response Rufio has to these two.
You
man, you stupid man.
That's still one of my favorite insults ever. You man, you stupid man.
Rufio from a Mega Burger, why don't you just eat me? Oh, it's great. So yeah, it's just there's a lot. It's funny too because I brought this up in my review too. That like with the props and swords and stuff, freaking Hook in the Disney film, he's using this giant rapier, and Peter's got this little dagger, and you're like, how the fuck can you repel that thing? Having held something like that, it's not that easy.
No, absolutely not.
So what's interesting too is like obviously with the music, this is something where I'm having trouble with a lot of my reviews that they do claim more of the music than they do the clips. And
I know that's why I don't really have music in my reviews, but like at the same time, like it feels empty sometimes. It's hard to do like videos like that. Like my Halloween Kills video, I'm like at this point, no, it won't work without like any of the music in there. So I had to have something in there, and I'm like, I don't care if it gets demonetized. It's more about like for my personal satisfaction. I think that's the case with some videos you do. Like, no, you do it because you like it, right?
How do you like? The thing is, the trick is you got to use cover tracks. Find cover tracks on YouTube and just credit the people who did it. That actually does help in some regards. Like you may not get the full revenue, but you get to share it, which is fair enough.
Right.
So, but yeah, actually,
I love the score though.
The fact that it's got nominated, I'm finding out like when I do my reviews, there's all these songs that got nominated, and you're like, why? Like when I did American Tail, the that little song with the two mice singing was nominated, and it got beat out by "Take My Breath Away" from Top Gun. So. I do like that pirate who's just like, I'll never get over Nostalgia Critic putting in Barbossa shooting Maggie.
Hey, look at it this way. Spielberg got his musical in there.
Yeah, and I do love the main theme because it is very, very, Superman, very, like Pirates of the Superman, basically.
Yeah, like when I think of flying like this, like John Williams is the master of making you feel like you can fly with his scores. Between Superman and like Hook, like that and right there.
Like Peter Pan. Yeah, and I love too. I didn't find this out that the Donkey Kong Country 2 score was inspired by Hook.
I did not know that.
I need to get the Super Nintendo game. I need to actually get the legit game because I do want to try it out. That was a Sega Genesis one. I think there's also an arcade game out there too for Hook. So, just trying to think what else. I mean, there's so much to talk about. Like we keep finding more and more stuff to do because we're trying to.
I know, like this is just a movie we can just like chit chat about for like hours upon hours on end. Because I mean, I just really love Hook. I mean, look at we're already like over 40 something, like 40 minutes into this episode at this point.
I will admit too, something I do want to do at some point, Sean. I'm thinking about it for next year. This is not a guarantee, but coming up on the 20th anniversary next year, I've thought about talking about the 2003 Peter Pan. And what I'm wondering, do you want to be on that? Because how have you seen that one?
I've seen it like years ago. I think I remember Hook being really over the top, but I have not seen it in so long. Maybe it'll be really good if I rewatch it again.
I think we should. I actually watched it because Brad wanted to watch Hook after I did this review, and we actually did a double feature. We watched the first 2003 Peter Pan, and then we watched Hook first, and then the 2003 Peter Pan. And looking at it, I found so many people who did the Peter Pan movie actually did work on Hook. It was more than just like the producer. It was like a lot of the effects guys, a lot of people. So it still makes me think it was supposed to be.
I wish they had Dustin Hoffman in it, though.
I love that joke that it's like Tim Curry killed Kim Curry. Now that line where he's like, "Thy worst enemy is myself," is from one of my favorite episodes of the show, which is where this is a crazy story. So Peter and the Lost Boys are trying to be chased after Captain Hook. They go into some tunnel and they go into like the pyramids of Egypt, and the pharaoh is played by Hook. So then Hook shows up, and it's Hook versus Hook, and they literally like lock their hooks together, and it's like a really cool fight scene. I would recommend finding that episode.
I have to give the show a watch. I mean, hyped it up a bit.
Oh, this
Piece of shit fan movie.
shit.
I've seen parts of it. There's a scene where they're singing like "It Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Yeah, there, right there.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes.
Jack, you got no. What was it like we were talking about beforehand about you doing like a holy trilogy?
Yeah, the trilogy of like the Peter Pan story, Return to Neverland, and then Hook, or is the
No.
trilogy.
There's no the shitty like sequel, or I'm thinking something else because like it was like King Arthur, Three Musketeers, and
King.
what was the
So it was King Arthur,
Oh,
Robin Hood,
and Robin Hood,
and Three Musketeers. That fan film is on YouTube, and it's only a teaser. It's like a decade old, but Jay, I want to see that. Like, I want to see these two go at it. And like, I always imagine the idea is that Jack Sparrow, on one of his like many adventures, had kicked Hook to like the second starlight, and he ended up in Neverland. So it's sort of like going to the ends of the earth, but it sends him to Neverland.
that would be
he
really
comes
cool.
Back for revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were actually. This was your point. You brought up that it's Across the Stars. I'm like, oh, it kind of is.
I know. Whenever I hear it, I'm like, God, they sound so much alike, but like just slightly different in terms of like the tone of it. But
yeah, and this was definitely Home Alone. I made Neverland disappear.
Well, didn't he make them like? Because it came out in '91, Home Alone. Because he was making like the Home Alone.
No,
movies
Home Alone
and
was
this
first. Home Alone was first. Home Alone was 91. Hook was 92, and then Home Alone 2 was 92.
Yep. Well, Home Alone 2 is just basically he just copied and pasted his same score.
I like Home Alone. I kind of like Home Alone 2 more than Home Alone 1.
Here's the thing. Home Alone 1 has the more emotional story to it, but Home Alone 2 is funnier, and it has Tim Curry.
I will admit too, I like the fact that in the teaser they used the score to Witches of Eastwick, and it does sound like the Jack Sparrow theme. Yeah, this is like I literally realized, oh, this is just Hogwarts.
Yes.
Well, rest in peace, Hagrid. By the way, that's
yes. Rest in peace, Hagrid.
You're the wizard. You're the boy. You're the boy, Peter.
Wait for the good pitches.
That's great. And I love at that point he's kind of channeling his Popeye. At that point, which actually I found out the sets of Popeye still exist. Like they're still.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like they're somewhere in like Europe or something. They just left it there because it's the.
Oh, I love the score here.
It's very. I love it. That part's very like Return of Jesus-y.
My favorite. I think my favorite. Yeah, my favorite scene in the movie is when he like the remembering childhood scene. I think the score is like really amazing, and then like as soon as he remembers, he has that happy thought, and then about being a father and all that. Like that was really good. And then you have the triumphant theme music, and I feel like I'm soaring with him too. That score just makes you feel like you're there. And
I will admit right here, when I was watching the movie again for the first time, this is where I just broke down in tears. And there's a TikTok video of me actually reacting to it. And I tried to put it in the review, but they kept claiming it. So I just took it out. But you can find the video on TikTok. I was literally just bawling.
Yeah, I remember you sent that to me, and you like because we were talking about the movie or something. Just like, I mean, the movie makes it emotional. It's just such a good movie.
I'll admit too, yeah, like you gotta watch more swashbucklers. Watch some Errol Flynn movies, like some of those pirate movies. They're great. Like Captain Blood and the Seahawk are amazing.
Yeah, my dad's favorite movie is like Errol Flynn's Robin Hood. So like, I mean, he used to watch. I'd watch like some older movies. You'd like
Captain Blood because it's like him and Basil Rathbone on the beach. They're trying to get Olivia de Havilland's fucking ass, and Errol Flynn takes him, and Basil's like, "You'll not take out when I live, then I'll take out when you're dead." Oh, it's great.
One that's kind of like sort of swashbuckly is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Disney. That's one of my favorites too.
For me, a swashbuckler has to be like ships
pirates and that,
and swords and all that shit. But yeah, just
some of that's in that 20,000 Leagues movie, but it's a little bit different. But I still really like it. But look at this. Look at how much fun this is.
I would kill to be on a set like that. I mean, even having experienced this stage show, because I actually did the Conan opera and doing actual like sword fighting and stuff and learning this stuff and getting into it. Oh, it's fun, dude. Even on stage,
it looks like fun.
Stage job, it's fun.
Charge!
I love that line too that Hook delivers. Remember the fires of hell that forged you. I'm like, that's a great villain speech line. That's my favorite shot. That's my favorite shot. Is that, and then if you in the corner, those two guys on the mast just like going yeah, like just the detail of that fight. Like this is one of the best pirate battles ever. Like
yes,
right
but
up
what
there.
makes it cool too, all real and in camera. Yeah, it's very cheesy and kind of hokey and kiddie, but I'm still like having a blast with it. Look
And
at
I'm not
this. Look
kidding.
at how
So
much fun.
this recreation where they shut it down, like they shut it down. So this happened at a summer camp. They were screening the movie. Right when that happened, they turned off the movie and everybody was losing their shit. Oh, I would have been pissed. If it was a screening, I would have been pissed off.
Oh yeah. I thought my video went out for a second.
Yeah. Friggin' Robin, yeah, like he actually did state that he actually was that everybody was really scared of him while they were filming because they're thinking he's not gonna stop.
It reminds me of the cable guy where they're just like, buddy, put the armor on. I don't think he's kidding.
Yeah, it's funny because like having done stage combat and fighting, you do get a little bit of a high and an adrenaline on it. It actually you feel the battle high, and it is hard to stop. And all the dialogue here is actually on point. Once you shed blood, it's hard to stop.
Right.
Yeah, so these guys are on YouTube. I would recommend watching them, and you can actually learn the routines too, which is fun. So I would recommend that too, Sean. Watch the routines. You can learn all the moves. I actually learned the whole Rufio fight from them.
Rufio.
Yeah, this part with the courts. That's funny because this whole thing, like, there's so much all this. I love the fact he never uses that fucking sword. He never uses the basket hook.
I love. Did this movie really help fuel your sword like addiction?
Yeah,
that kind of started.
it was kind of the first that started my sword fetish.
I know, because you were just like, oh, the swords. Oh,
yeah, and also like too. I found out so like a small sword would have an 8-figure, but the court sword has a single. And I was looking up the research. Oh, George Washington does this shit. I just want to go on a rant about George Washington and then bring up Captain John Paul Jones, who is America's only famous pirate. Yeah, and what I love too is like there's the line from Inuyasha 3. Who needs 3 swords? Yeah, so this part, John Paul Jones, that is the true American patriot because he's not only a patriot, he was a pirate. So the story behind, I don't know if you know this, so I'll go into a little bit of a thing here. So John Paul Jones during the Revolutionary War traveled to England, stole ships, and sold them to like Spain and shit. And in England, King George declared him a pirate.
Ooh,
so there's a real American pirate out there, and I'm like, why is there not a movie about this guy? Why is there not a scene of a swashbuckler about that dude?
Not sure.
See that shot right there? You look at that's one of my favorite shots. You look at the background there; they're taking the pirates away. Yeah, all this stuff is great. Like, look up. You can learn this whole fight routine, Sean. There's also Homemade Movies did a recreation of that scene with Dante back as Rufio, and he was actually teaching them how to fight. Like, the fights are great in this.
Look at that. Dante aged pretty well. Like, look, like he has not aged that much in like 30 years.
Yeah, just I love you. You gotta watch By the Sword. That's a great movie, Sean. But just now that I've seen it, I want to use clips from it all the time.
Eric Roberts.
Oh, you gotta watch that. It's one of Eric Roberts' best movies. It's like spoilers.
Rufio dies.
Oh yeah, spoilers. Artax drowns.
Yeah, spoilers. The Titanic sinks.
Spoilers. The World Trade Center's came down.
Oh, god damn it, Jackie.
But yeah, so this actual thing with Kathleen Kennedy, actually, yeah, this was all Kathleen Kennedy's idea. Again, I had to find BTS pictures or whatever because that documentary, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find any other footage. And then after I did this review, there it is, all the footage. I'm like, God damn it. God damn it. I love that look Robin gives, where he's like, it's at that point, he's like, I'm going to kill you.
Right, like, you just killed a kid. Like, this is pretty hardcore.
I was like, now it's personal. You don't kill, I'll let you kill all of these guys, but I won't let you kill kids. It's funny because I looked up the prop sword that Hook had, the court sword, and I found out that it's apparently just gone. Like I can't remember, like, because the sword master, because I talked to the guy who built the props and actually who built the hook, and he said to me, oh, that thing's gone.
Ooh.
Yeah, the 75 Zoro is a good one too.
I believe in you, Peter.
That scene, actually, this scene when I watched it as a kid, this actually freaked me out. This whole sequence kind of freaked me out as a kid. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't. Actually, you know what? I'll admit, when Hook like rips his arm with the hook, that actually made me terrified of coat hangers for a while.
Hey, no wire hangers ever.
No! Oh, I should have put that in just right here. No wire hangers. I do like that. It's interesting too, because apparently there was something about Dustin being like they wanted to use his left hand, but Dustin was more comfortable with his right hand with the sword, so they had to switch it around.
Is Robin left-handed?
No. Dustin, I think, is. They wanted Dustin to be left-handed, but they made him right-handed instead. So right there, when he falls in, that's where the Wicked Witch came out. So, yeah. So it's just cool to just see them rehearse too, and you listen to the sounds on set. It's funny too, because like swords, most of the time, prop swords are actually made out of aluminum. They're not made out of steel because they're like easier, they're safer to use. So, I love this bit with Kevin when he like drops the mic. Do you like Kevin Smith?
Kevin Smith is like there's good and bad with Kevin Smith and things. I mean, I don't have any issues with him personally or anything like that. I mean, he's done some good stuff, but he's also done some really bad stuff too. I mean, Clerks, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is really, really funny. I also really like Dogma too. That was a pretty entertaining one. Like some of his earlier work is pretty good, but some of his later work has not really been that great.
I heard Tusk is really fucked up.
Tusk is both fucked up and really funny at the same time. It's very bizarre, but I did like listening to some of his podcasts though. So, but he also does bad stuff too. Like I think most people would agree that his He-Man Masters of the Universe is not very good.
Didn't he do commentaries for all the Batman movies?
Yeah, he did. I did listen to them. So like I said, they're interesting. They're all on YouTube.
Actually, fun fact about that that when they did the last day of shooting, and they were like, Robin was there giving everybody hugs and making speeches and stuff. But what I love is what Dustin said, where he's in character and he says, "Captain Hook, thanks a great crew." I'm like, okay, that's brilliant. That's
I love the bit with the clocks too. One of the funniest bits too is where he takes Jack to like smash a watch or whatever, and then one of the clocks starts ticking, and then he's having a panic attack and he's screaming, and like Jack's just like laughing his ass off.
Yeah, and also I love the fact too. It's funny because I looked at the soundtrack and that bit with the clocks coming up. I love the bell chimes on those clocks, but unfortunately, there's like the soundtrack does not have that bit, which I'm like, oh damn it. But yeah, I think you and I need to review this one, Sean. Like we gotta do a follow up to Hook, and we gotta talk about this one because I do have things. I need to rewatch.
I need to watch this movie because I have not seen it in like 20 years.
The guy who's like Peter Pan in that, he's actually a really cool dude in real life. He reflects on how well it was, and on top of that, how like I think he's got a YouTube channel or something. He's a cool kid.
I know him from the Sasquatch Gang. The same director.
Imagine if we got him on board for the review. That'd be amazing.
It would.
So that's the thing. They were trying to get this off the ground, and then like Diana died, and then that kind of put a bit of a lump on the production. And then they just said, I think by the time Lord of the Rings came out, they said, "Fuck it, let's do it."
But you know what the thing is? They really wish Dustin Hoffman was in that movie. It would have really made it better. But here's the thing, though. I'm glad they didn't just remake Peter Pan. They did their own thing with it. I think that's one of the reasons it stands the test of time.
Yeah, and it's on top of that too. It's like it's interesting too with the Peter Pan film. What happened was they were at the same time they were filming all that because Jason Isaacs was also doing Harry Potter at the same time. So they actually moved production to London so he could go back and forth on the set of Harry Potter and Peter Pan. And yeah, that was one of the things. But yeah, apparently this movie, like it's well received, but it was flopped because of Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. It came out the same weekend. And it kind of just got forgotten about. One thing I will say, too, about the 2003 Peter Pan, for a lot of people that like it, it's because the kid who plays Peter was actually, like, a huge crush for a lot of girls back then. I'm like, okay, I can see why some people like it, but I like it regardless. Like it's a good kind of.
I have to watch it again because, like I said, I don't have very many memories about seeing it. I just would watch Hook over and over again. But man, it could have been interesting if Dustin Hoffman was in it. I would have watched it a lot
That
more.
would have
I'm
been
sure.
great. I also will say too, it was oh fuck, I forget what I was gonna say. This shit. Yeah, it is an unofficial prequel to me. It is part of the continuity. I don't like the fact that went out of focus there.
Look at that shot. Look at these shots. Oh, they're so great to just look at.
So yeah, it's just so. It was fun to put this together. I think that honestly, outside of GVK, it's funny because this was the second last video I edited on my old computer. I've since got a brand new PC, but I think this review killed my old PC.
But you know what? It went out on a high note. So
it did. GVK was the last one, but this was like the big one that kind of started killing it. The file I have that we're using for this recording on the commentary, it's like 5 gigs. So I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like it's a beast. Like, because we watched this before, like because you showed me it before, like oh, that says pussy there. Just pointing that out.
It does? What the fuck?
It said like pussycat, but it said pussy there. I don't know. I just noticed that. I just like my immaturity.
You find stuff like that. Yeah, the ending also I really like. I do like the fact it's also a Christmas movie. It's another thing. It's a Christmas movie technically.
That's right. Hey, that says Good Form Peter on the ship. I never noticed that before.
God, you find all these Easter eggs that we don't know about.
Right. See, that's the fun part of the commentary. I mean, I'm having a blast in this commentary. We've been talking for like an hour at least, and it's just flying by because we just enjoy the movie so much.
Yeah, you find. I think I said, did that sign just say horror? What the fuck? I think I saw something there. Yeah.
You know, we got to do a commentary on the whole movie at some point. Like, that'd be
great.
Fun
Let's
to
do that on your channel. I'm in for your channel. That'd be fun. Again, that's my favorite shot. Just the chaos.
Maybe we'll do it for like the 30th anniversary, Jack, or something. Because like you've done things you got to do on my channel, the commentaries. Because we got to do the other 2 Batman movies that we didn't talk about. Because you're in the Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, but like Batman Returns and '89 have not been given commentaries.
Let's do Batman Returns for Christmas. That sounds fun.
All right, we'll do Batman Returns, and then maybe for the 1-year anniversary of this video, we'll have like a commentary for Hook or something.
That'd be nice.
We're just in line with it because November 25th was when it went live. No, it was Black Friday was when it went up, right?
Yeah, something like that. It was right before the holiday started.
It was right on Thanksgiving or something like.
Now, I do like that line, but in terms of the ending, which I do want to discuss too, I do like how it ends with the hook. That's so symbolic.
Yep.
The ending with Neverland. I just thought, if we do something where we do go to Neverland, let's stick that in. And with Captain Hook at the end, I will admit I am trying to get something on the grounds there. I just don't know if I'm going to have the time.
Okay.
I love how there's like a Michael Myers bit there.
Of course, I'm getting choked. Oh, look at me when I'm younger there. Oh, wait, that's the GVK video. I remember that. Great.
But with the ending, it was just more to set up that just in case Peter and Hook do show up in the show, just set that up. And also, I was kind of writing in the idea that with the fleets in the Invasion of Earth coming up, is that it's Hook's Jolly Roger and Captain Roth's ship that are sort of commanding the fleets of evil towards Earth. So they might show up in the finale. They may not. Depends on scheduling. But if they don't show up, I have plans to write in a spin-off where they got lost at sea, and it's just Hook and Roth having huge debates. They're having just arguments. Yep. So they're literally like the Three Stooges. Which I might do too. So
second star to the right and straight on to morning.
So when I shot the sword on the log, very Excalibur based, it was right in the middle of this time of year, and it was the perfect environment because it looked like the fall in the forest. It looks like the Lost Boys cabin. So I just utilized that. And actually, since that review, the pan sword prop you see, it's made out of plastic and just a coconut, but I've since then made a legit steel replica of Peter's sword, and I want to utilize that at some point. I just don't know how. So
I feel like that Sean, you're a genius line. Were you mimicking Marty McFly?
No, I just kind of just thought, oh, okay, that's the line. It wasn't really anything. It was just the line. But again, it's more just like, I love the fact too that I keep the location secret because you don't know if evil's going to start utilizing it.
I love that You Are the Pan music. I can hear it though.
Well, I had to
You
use a
used that for the
cover.
trailer
It was
video.
it was a cover because I couldn't use the original track. So, and even the cover got a little bit claimed. Like this video is sharing revenue on YouTube, but again, that's okay because at least it's up there. Now, some of these shots,
I love this
these
final
shots,
bit too.
the beach shots are actually from like 10 years ago when I was just filming B-roll on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
So I
It's
just
good to have
utilized
stock
that.
footage on standby.
Oh,
And
it's
then you had
great.
this final shot
Especially
here,
this
which is
season.
cool.
Yeah, this stuff's good. Good. I vow, it's just the emotions, and you hear Robin at the end going "Bangarang." Ah, it's beautiful. Beautiful way to end it.
Mm-hmm. And we're in fall season now, so the leaves are starting to look great. But like, that's the perfect place for that sword right there.
The sword of just great prop, good form. But yeah, outside we got a little bit more time because we can talk quickly about the post. I mean, we got the post credits scene coming up.
I'm trying to remember what the post credit scene was.
This is also the last episode to utilize this backdrop. Since then, I did change it to me walking around the city in the style of an anime.
Mm-hmm.
I
like this one though because it's just like that final shot, like is very anime with the moonlight and all that.
Well, that's the thing. It was a full moon. I just shot it, but it was so badly lit, and you see the pixelization. Since then, we're gonna try to change up the closing credits now and then, just to kind of give it more variety. But keep the same music. And a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, what's the music in your reviews?" It's from an anime called Kaiketsu Zoro, which is a Zoro anime, and it's fucking amazing. You should watch that.
I love your theme music. It's I love instrumental themes the most.
Anything with saxophones is my thing.
Yeah, like it's the saxophones, of course.
Even
you gotta watch Commando. That movie soundtrack is all full of saxophones.
Even in Dragon Ball Evolution, when like I fight Cell and you hear the song that Gohan when he turns Super Saiyan 2, it's a saxophone cover and it's just fucking great. And there's me as Captain Roth, who is dead since
you
the
hated.
end. So
Didn't
the
you
guy
hate Captain
playing
Roth a lot?
The guy playing the head doctor, who is just Gablor in human form, is my buddy Thomas Lovekio, who actually does do the voice of Gablor, but he's also an amazing impressionist of Mr. Plinkett. So
he's the one who does Plinkett. Okay.
Yeah. He does a lot of voices. He's known as Herald of VORTOS on YouTube.
Fuck you, I'm Mr. Plinkett.
I'm evil Dr. Plinkett, and I'm here to take over the world.
Like we had like funny story outside this. We had a conversation where he was Plinkett, and I didn't know, or like, and I was like Mandark or something. Just a random like. It was the most random of crossovers, just without me realizing it was him.
So what I love too is that this was just in the living room of my apartment. We just made it look like a doctor's office, and we shot this when Thomas was visiting town because he's a few bits off in Ontario. So we just filmed it, and I did most of the voice of him as in his human form, but basically he just did the mouth movements. And we kind of kept it in shadow because I have somebody cast for the in-person in-face look. But this was just sort of just to tease what's to come down the future, and also the bits of destroy the evidence. There's some of this dialogue's taken from the Mask of Zorro when they're saying
he's your Dr. Claw right now.
Now people are like, well, wait a minute. So if Gablor is him, if that's him in human form, then who the fuck is this guy if they're the same person? It's sort of like Naraku in Inuyasha, where he can like take two. Basically, he can duplicate himself, but the duplicate is like a puppet. Like some sort of puppet that he can mastermind from the shadows. So he's basically talking with himself, but it's still the sort of like communicate with other people that are watching carefully.
Yep. Exactly.
The idea too is that this guy's also been hunting down Dr. Tarawad as well. He's been trying to find him, and Dr. Tarawad has been missing for a couple of years. I think like since 2020. That's the idea, is that it's since the pandemic he went missing. And
that's right, and I've had to do like numerous news videos, which a lot of it I don't really understand. I
love those news reports, though. I love that as a running joke.
Yes, that's right. Action news. That's like my Tim Curry.
We should just do a whole like short film with like all the news reporters having like a CNN debate.
Oh no, we got to have the Anchorman news fight.
Yes. So this bit. So yeah, all this stuff here. So it's meant to imply that Roth will come back. And so will Captain Hulk, and I did build a new costume.
Is that Medusa?
For Roth. What? No, it's Roth's
hat. Is that Medusa?
It's Roth's hat.
Oh, okay. For a second, I'm like, it looked like Medusa.
With the original scene was supposed to have Evan come back, but he was busy at the time. But we're gonna have him up soon. But I love this. Right. Like that's so creepy. The footsteps are actually from the Flash trailer with Batman stepping in. So.
Yeah. But
Oh,
I was just
so
gonna say, like, the way the hair kind of moved in shadow, that's a good way to pull off a Medusa effect
true.
like that over like stuff. So,
But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Subscribe to JTIsReborn, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Jack. This was a lot of fun. We'll have to do more commentaries and stuff in the future at some point.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Good form. Good form, Jack. Good form.
Bye,
Bitches.